Okay, streaming now. Hi everyone, welcome to Saturday, another stream and another awesome weekend here. Hope you're all enjoying your Saturday. I know it's a good time of the year, probably all over the world, because we're sort of in those mid-seasons, autumn in some parts of the world and spring in other parts. So tell us about your weekend so far, and hi to all the chatties that are joining the stream. Also a big hi to our guests here, and let's just quickly cut over to the guests. How you going, Inky?
I'm good. I'm doing. Thank you.
Fantastic. And I don't know if Daren can hear us, but we're having some technical problems, so I'll just get Daren to say hi via me telling him. Daren can't hear us, but we can hear him. All right, so we'll see if we can solve his problem in the middle of the stream. Let's see what we can do anyway.
There's a big
We can hear you, Daren,
can you
but
hear me?
It's definitely a delay. So we'll work with it. We'll work with this.
There's a big delay. About a 10-second delay.
Yeah, we'll work with it. We'll just have to be patient. So everyone who's just joined us, it's we're going to try a couple of really interesting things out in this stream today. We're going to try we've got Inky, who's hopefully prepared something earlier. She's going to show us a remix of one of my tracks, and I'm also going to show that track and how I kind of made it just briefly first. Now that's a commercial track, so we'll get into that. Now there's going to be a little bit of Ableton, there's going to be a bit of push, there's going to be a bit of music production discussions. Inky's going to show her Akai Force and MPC Live. I'm not sure. She'll go into that, and hopefully we can get Daren to show us some nice big fat pads from his Tuno. So that'll be a nice surprise for us as well. So hopefully we can all fit it in. But also we've got our regular segments, and I have to admit it's been really busy for all of our regular segments anyway. So why don't we get stuck into those. So the first off one we're going to start with is the funny side, and we're going to roll the stinger. Let's go. Well, here we are at Funny Side, and I've put a nice little graphic below us now that we know we're in Funny Side. Hope you guys enjoy Funny Side. It's a little bit of collection of memes and videos and knickknacks that I find on the interwebs over the week. I thought this one was actually really funny. I've kind of changed it to what the original was. So for those who actually own digital cameras, they'll understand that the CR2 file format is kind of raw. Or in other words, it's kind of almost analog in a way. It's not though, it's digital. But so there's a picture of a Juno 106, which is an analog synth, and there's a picture of a Juno or JU06A, which is a completely digital recreation, which is hence the JPEG version of it. I don't know if you guys get that, but it's I thought it was pretty clever anyway. So That's the first one, and I actually have a video. This is new for our funny side. So why don't we just play the video? This one I hope you'll like. Let's go. That was a little bit grueling, that one, but I don't know if you guys get that, but someone's done a video of that old song and said, finally we now know the lyrics. I don't know if they quite got it right though. But yeah, anyway, that was the video, and moving right along, we now have another meme to show you. So, driving along a road and B&B Music and Sound have got a theremin sale. And they're claiming that they've never been touched. I like that one. I thought that was clever. So there we go. That is the funny side for this week. Let's quickly get some reaction from our guest callers in. Inky, what did you think of funny side this week?
I like the theremin one. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
The first one, yeah, it was quite good. And the song was really good because nobody's ever worked out what even they hear about. So that was brilliant. Yeah.
Well, I don't even know what language that song is in. So, yeah. Anyway. So just while we're at it too, the couple of chatties have joined us. So let's have a quick look to see who's joined us. Axel Soft, afternoon to you as always. 888 Berg, how are you going? And yeah, so as the chatties jump in, we will definitely say good day to you. Don't forget, if you are watching and you've never been in the chat, jump into the chat and say hi. We're friendly people here. Well, at least I think we are. All right, let's go on to the next segment, which is our news for the week. Roll the stinger. Well, welcome to the news. And hopefully this is all working properly. Yes, good, excellent, brilliant. Right, the news for the week. We first have the news announcement from a wonderful company called Erica Synths, which those who are into Eurorack and other bits of synthesizers will know do some awesome stuff. Now this one, I'm really getting excited about this because this is actually inspired by that famous EMS synth that was made in the UK called the Synthy, or the AKS Synthy. This is not actually a replica or a clone. They're making a really big kind of point about that. Unfortunately, I don't have any videos for this, so I was really disappointed that I can't show you or even play you some audio. So hopefully next week, stick around for next week's stream, we can see if we can dig into this a bit. But I can tell you some specs. It is it's very similar to the original Synthy. It's got 3 oscillators. You can see them across the left-hand side under that speaker there. It obviously has that famous matrix down the bottom in the middle. Now, a little bit about that matrix. These guys have done it as a digital matrix, so it may be a better thing if it's digital. But anyway, let's we'll wait till we see what it's like. It's got a trapezoid, which is really one of the best things about these, the modulation with trapezoid type waveforms and things like that. And yeah, this is actually a pretty good question to ask those who are smart, because I'm not. Is a trapezoid the same as a slewed triangle wave? So there's a question. See if anyone knows the answer to that. So the question was, again, is a trapezoid the same as a slewed triangle waveform? There we go. Anyone can answer. Those who are in the chat can answer that. What else can we tell you about this? Price. Who can guess? Now, remembering you can actually still buy a VCS3 from EMS, or the guy that, Robin or whatever his name is, the guy that used to work. I think they're about £4,500. So that's the original EMS. Now this is €2,500. So that's actually pretty decent. And when you consider the original one's kind of similar to the VCS3 is being made, that's actually not bad. But we probably will see a Behringer clone of the VCS3, I would imagine, in the next few years, if they can get around copyright. Anyway, let's move on to the next news item. Don't forget to chat in chat about these news items, because they are definitely newsworthy. Okay, first one is done. Second one is Zeus by GS Music, who are an Argentina company. Now this is actually, they've actually made an analog monosynth, I think, before, or digital monosynth, I can't remember now. I actually forget what they called it. But this is actually a multi-timbral analog polysynth, which boasts 12 voices, so that's pretty big. Now remember, this is purely analog, so it has 2 VCOs per voice, plus each VCO offers you the sub oscillators. So there's two sub oscillators there, and it's got a 4-pole low pass filter, 3 LFOs, 2 envelopes, and it's got a digital interface, which means presets. So I can actually show you a video on this. We do have a video on this one. So let's roll the video. Let's go. Actually looks beautiful, that synth. It kind of, tell me if you guys agree, it kind of has a similar look to the Elka Synthex, the kind of sort of graphics sort of style of it, but at the same time it's kind of got a little bit of a Moog layout, and I really like that OLED display that they've got up the top there, which shows the envelopes and the waveforms. I reckon that's actually a really cool looking synth. Anyone interested in the Zeus by GS Music? Now, I can't tell you the price because they haven't told us, but if anyone does everyone does know the price, let me know in the chat. While we were talking about the Zeus by GS Music, a few people have said, to answer to my question, that the answer is a trapezoid like a triangle waveform with a slew on it? The answer is no, according to Axel Soft Music. A slew triangle has no flat section at the top, whereas a trapezoid has a nice big squared off flat section. So, and also slew is time related, according to Blackberg. So it's very interesting how you can get similar results with the slew triangle waveform to a trapezoid, but you won't get the same. That's kind of my point that I was making there. Anyway, let's move on to the last bit of news. Now, let me see if I get this ready for you guys. News is kind of hard to do because I've got to run 2 computers at the same time, and also I've got to change graphics at the same time. Bang! I don't usually show furniture in news, but I thought I might because, you know, it's related. We put our gears somewhere, and IKEA can't get all the... I mean, I've got all IKEA stuff here, but IKEA always seem to get all the stuff, and there's other people out there making stuff. I actually thought this was pretty cool. Now, this is from a company called Output, and they make desks and things like that as well. So let's have a look at their advertising video and go into here and play, if it's going to play. Very good indeed. Who's interested in that? That's a pretty cool piece of gear. You can put one either side of your... You can just get a normal desk and put one either side. The yeah, what can I say about it? The Output has The sidecar is 12U rack space. It's got a shelf and a sliding tray as a separate purchase option. It's fully modular. You can install the door and cable storage arm on either side, and it's got adjustable shelf height and that cable management, which I actually really thought was pretty cool. So it's kind of a bit of thought. They've obviously researched stuff from the music industry, and yeah, anyone in chatties who seems to be interested in that? Looks like we've got some chatties. Let's have a quick look at what they're saying. Big hello to Inverted Popes has joined us, and Michael B, how you going? And Barramundi's also there. Off-World Network is there. What is the angled top shelf to your right? Okay, this thing here. This is a so that's a shelf that you can just buy as a separate plank from IKEA, and holding it up you can see the little teeth are 2 laptop stands. So you can see it's a little bit bouncy. So they're 2 laptop stands. I forget the brand that make it, but you can just use any laptop stands. And so that actually, and that lip that you can see there is just a plastic L shape that you can get from your hardware store. Stop the stuff from sliding down. So there you go. Kind of a ranzee's bod job, if you want to call it that. But intuitive, inventive, I don't know. I've seen other people do similar, so there you go. Right here, let's go back to our chatties. What did you think of the news this week, guys? Inky, you could start, because I don't know if Daren can hear us.
Yeah. I liked the cable management in that desk, in that side unit.
Yeah.
I think they should make a bit higher, because I'm not sure you put your modular that long.
Well,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's rack mount, so that's the 19-inch stuff. You know, it's not.
Yeah, but at the height, if you're sitting down, it's lower than your arm.
Yeah. So the whole point of that is, if you've got sort of outboard gear, and you're not sort of accessing that all the time, you pop that down, and then you'd only need to go down and use it every now and then. If you've got stuff that you need to access all the time, you could actually have that on your desk in front of you. So it's kind of, it depends on your workflow. A lot of people have stuff in racks. Like if you see behind me, I've got that rack cabinet there. It's actually a 12U rack cabinet as well. So, and I don't hardly ever go in there because the stuff is not used.
The modular bit, you know, where the turntable comes out, which is an additional bit. Isn't that made so you can have modular in it?
Yep, you can. I think it's. Let me just go back to the video. So I think that's optional. That sliding tray. That's what they were saying.
Yeah.
And you could have it modular like that. Do you see how I just got it modular gear there?
Yeah, it's not quite as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I kind of think it's configurable, and I did actually say something wrong before. You can actually put Eurorack in there as well. So, because there was actually some Eurorack gear in there. So yeah, there you go. And chatties are saying some stuff, so let's quickly bounce to them. Alrighty, so if IKEA did sense is what Triple 8berg's saying. So Axelsoft is looking for it. You need to sneak that past the wife, mate, and then you might be able to get it through. Kitchen worktops, breakfast bar legs, IKEA. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. No mention of the Mod X OS version 2. No, I haven't mentioned it. But you're welcome to talk about it. I know it was definitely released. There was actually an article that I read about it. Yamaha's what Axel Music is talking about is the Yamaha firmware update, which is pretty exciting. Still haven't got any information on the Rion stuff yet, so I was waiting for someone to send that through to me, which was what I said last week. So no one sent anything through. Can't really show it. Patch bays we talked about last week briefly towards the end of the stream. Daren and I were chatting about that. So, yeah, there we go. Okay, we've got, I think that's it for news this week. Now, yeah, that's it for news this week. We've got another segment to get through. Now, this one's going to be the same as normal, but it's a bit longer. So let's just get into the stinger. This is our eBay scam segment for those who haven't watched the stream before. And yeah, so there was actually quite a lot that came out this week. In fact, I probably might not be able to show it all because it will just be too long for the stream. But the first one was, have a look at that price, guys. £99,999 for a Moog sub 37.
No.
That one's not bad, hey? Pretty damn good. Reverb. That one's Reverb. Yes. What else have we got? Next one. 14,000 Australian dollars for a... Now, this one is kind of not really scammy. The Jamox Sunstin are actually pretty rare. So, you may actually want to pay that for this because there's not many of these. But I still think it's way overpriced. So, this is probably not really a scam. This is probably just overpriced. I think... Let's draw the line. Let's say sometimes these are scammy and sometimes it is overpriced. So, you know, some of you will probably disagree with me. They probably think that's a scam. Let's move on.
Well,
yeah?
They still are in business and they are still making really good box. So, yeah, it is a bit of a scam. Yeah.
A bit of a scam and a bit overpriced at the same time. We'll
bit greedy.
We'll call it even. All right, next one. Now, this one I thought was so funny. Now, this is the Akai Rhythm Wolf. Now, everyone remembers the Akai Rhythm Wolf, right? So when I saw this on one of my Facebook feeds, I actually went onto eBay and I searched. And this was the one that came up first. So this one is $1,254 and they're giving free postage. So this is probably the best deal that you'll get. If you want to be scammed, that is. And then this is the one that actually showed on my Facebook feed, but I actually found it on eBay as well. So this one is $1,215 plus $200 postage. So you can look. There's two out there for that scam basement bargain price of $1,200-ish for an Akai Rhythm Wolf. So look, you know, if that's the way you roll, then you're probably happy. Anyway, that's the...
Hold on. I think you've got it wrong. I think that's the price they're paying you to take it off their hands.
Possibly. Yeah, that's a possible.
Because it wasn't very good, was it?
It kind of didn't meet the mark, did it? There's a few people that like them, but I think there's people that like Citroens as well. People drive Citroens. Let's not be too negative about Citroen drivers, but Anyway, moving. I probably got myself into trouble saying that.
I drive a Citroen. No,
you do not. Nobody drives a Citroen. Come on. Dearie me. What do we got here in the chat? So lots of people are laughing about the Rhythm Wolf, of course. It always gets a good laugh, the Rhythm Wolf. The Timber Wolf and all the others. Yeah, geez. I don't know. Let's see what's happening with Daren. Daren, are you still there, mate? And it's probably going to take him 10 minutes before he hears us on the replay. Let's see if Daren's still there. We'll go to the chatties while we're waiting for Daren and see what they're up to.
It's a good way to gauge how live we are, though.
It's usually about 10
we should
seconds.
Time it.
Yeah, it's about 10, I think.
I'm still here, if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you, mate. So there you go. It was about 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was.
If you can count 10 seconds.
So Daren, just for those playing along at home, Daren is, for some reason he's got technical problems. He can't hear us through the call software, whereas Inky's hearing us fine. It's just, I don't know, something his end. but we're just going to work with him. Yeah, anyway, moving right along, let's get stuck into the rest of the stream. So what do we have next? We've got the segment. My phone was vibrating then for some reason, I don't know why. Okay, so let's go to here. So this was a commercial track that I released at the start of the year from my Link album called Men from Mars. That's what I'm going to show you this week. Now, let me get Spotify happening. Okay. I'm just going to play you this. This is actual. If I can show you Spotify, actually, if you want to see it. There we go. I'm just going to play you Spotify, and this is the commercial release. I'm just going to play you probably the first, minute or so. Here we go.
You hear me say anything about Men from Mars? No, you didn't. All I'm trying to tell you is this.
Okay, so that is the commercial release that I actually launched on Spotify and all those places that you launch your songs on, and it was one of those tracks that someone told me. I actually wasn't going to release it, but someone said to me, "No, you should release that. It's really good." And I explained to you kind of the past before I decided to release that. So basically, let's go into, here we go here. So this is Ableton. Actually, I might make that full screen for you guys so you can see it better. So Ableton, when I set this track up, I set it up as, kind of in Ableton as little sort of sample clips, right? And I did that because I was kind of wanting to make a track that I could play with the clips, and I could play synths at the same time, and and basically, where is my little? I always forget where it's going. Here we go. So basically, that ends up coming out on this. I've only still got the push one because I don't believe I still haven't got my money's worth of push one, but it's still perfectly fine. And you can see that as a performance thing, I don't have to go into the computer and touch the mouse and stuff. I can just launch these scenes down here. So that was kind of really what it was about. Now, whilst that was kind of happening, what I ended up doing is filming me doing a live jam. So let's just have a quick look at that. Now let's go kind of in a bit. Let's probably go maybe to there. And you guys can see the instruments that I'm playing live. This is all on my channel too. I'm not going to play the whole video. You guys can find it. It's called Ambient Jam. So you can see me playing the System 8. You can see the push just to the left of it. I've got a Juno or JU06, an OP1, a Reface CS. What else have I got? TR8. I think there's a Korg mini log in here as well. And the rest of it is all samples and clips and things like that. So it's a good video to watch because you can see me make this track basically. I'm launching a scene there. And let's head on back over to here. So, yeah, so just so we know, that's how that track kind of started. And you probably noticed that it really didn't change much. Would you agree with that, Inky? It's pretty similar to what the final version sounded like.
I haven't heard the final version yet.
Oh, there you go. You're just hearing it now.
So, yeah, because I didn't actually have a copy of the final version.
Okay, well, I sent you the tracks. So each track.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so that's actually pretty cool because that's fine. That makes it even cooler because then now when you do your bit, it's going to make it even more kind of radical, if that makes sense. I like that. You haven't been influenced.
Yeah.
So basically, from a music point of view, I mean, we're all musicians here, right? So let's talk music. Let's not talk about too much technology for a sec. So from a musician's point of view, when I was young, I played the piano, and I used to like sort of minors a lot. I used to play with minors and fifths and things like that. And that song is really kind of an old thing that I used to muck around with on the piano, where I'd be doing an E flat and a C, and then I'd go up to a flat and an F, and I'd just sort of change octaves, right? Now, because I kind of mangled that into a fifth sound, and you'll notice that the whole bass line is actually the same as that System 8 lead. It's actually the same patch, but it's down a lower octave and it's just very subtle. So you've kind of got that, and it just continuously beats through the whole track. But then you've got that lead that comes over the top. Okay, so that's kind of the history of it. Now, then what happened was someone said that that's really good. I don't know if I agree, but that's what someone said, and you should release that as a track. And that's what happens in music. People have opinions, and obviously ended up with this kind of setup here in Ableton. And if I go into Ableton, you can see you can see all the recordings here. So if I play that, let's play it from here. Right here. So that's the original recording in Ableton, and you can make all of that happen from all of these clips that you can launch here, which you can also see you can launch from here from your push. So, you saw me in that video. I was accessing this. I was playing, the System 8. I was mucking around with, my gear. And I think kind of the reason why I want to show you guys this, and I want you guys to feed me back. I'll get to Axel's little joke in a sec. I just noticed I said something wrong. But fraudulent slip. Probably what I'm trying to say is that, while we're mucking around with gear, it's kind of cool to see how people use different workflows. And this was kind of one way that I had my workflow. Now, the reason why I was really keen on Inky getting hold of this, Inky, this is probably something that you may not know yet, was because I actually really felt this song almost makes the Akai Force what it is. Does that make sense? So you've got MIDI tracks and you've got clips, right? And you're launching clips and you're playing MIDI tracks, and also you can play live and all that sort of stuff over it. But to me, this was almost the epitome of why Akai made the Akai Force. It's kind of like getting us away from the PC or the Mac using DAWs, and it gives us the ability to have a little box sitting on our desk, and we've got all our hardware gear around it, and it gives us that sort of creative ability. What do you think about that as a sort of segue?
Yeah, I totally think you're right. I didn't have as much time to do, but that's exactly how I was going to do it. I was going to use all your audio tracks as audio tracks, and then put each of the MIDI clips in the MIDI clips. But because I didn't have enough time, I put the audio tracks as drum samples, and I was amazed that I could get, I think there's 9 audio as as long samples.
Yep.
Within a clip, within several clips of music, within just using a track as a combination of audio tracks, if you like. So you can even condense it further if you want to get more. How can I explain it? 6 audio tracks dedicated uses up quite a lot of memory, doesn't it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
But I've 3 copies of your samples in drum tracks, which is about 9 long pieces.
Yep.
And it's handled it.
Okay.
And I've still got an audio channel.
So just so everyone playing along at home kind of gets an idea of what I've sent Inky is what we call the stems. So they're the audio tracks that she's referring to. So there was, let me go into my thingamy here. Where did I save this thing?
Do you want me to play one?
Just give me a sec. We're going to go to you in a sec. I just can't remember where I saved the bloody thing. That's all. It actually doesn't matter. So basically what she had is she had pretty much just two main folders. One folder was for the stems, the audio tracks, and another folder was basically all the clips, and it was separated into, I think, 2 or 3 subfolders. There was drum loops and just kind of, you know, one what do you call them, one time launch clips type things. And so if we go, this is before you do your bits, sorry Inky, we'll get to you in a sec. If we go into Ableton here, you can see all of these clips here, right? So, you know, if I launch one clip here, where are we?
All I'm trying to tell you is this.
So you can see they're just all the little clips that are there. Okay, so that's basically the exact files that I've sent Inky. Now, before we get into your section, Inky, I just wanted to address a couple of things that were playing through the chat as we did it. Axel Soft said, you can't say you played around with minors. I did actually say that. You guys know what I meant. I didn't mean that one. Norman's big hi to you, Norman. Can you share the backing track? Yeah, we could. Need to have a think about how I'm going to do that though, because some of the things might be copyright, so we'll see what happens with that. But we can definitely revisit that. Now, Inky, are you okay now to sort of take control if I go full screen on you? And you can show us what you came up with as a remix, just out of curiosity.
Well, before we go any further, I want to say I only had an hour. That's why I couldn't. Right, that's why I couldn't do it. On the MPC, it would have been easier because I know it, but the whole stem thing would be too long. And also, I want to disclose I've never heard the actual track.
Yeah. That's good though.
And also, it's twice as fast.
That's good.
Well, the pressure's on now. I'm feeling the pressure.
So the original track was 98 BPM. So that means you're saying yours is what, 176 BPM?
Not quite. It's 142.
Okay, so that's pretty punchy.
Right. Yeah. So and I've used clips. I've used the TR8 clip and I've reversed it and kind of offbeat it to a drum beat I've put. So interesting if you can find anything you recognise in there, really.
Awesome. All right.
Right. Shall I have a go then?
Yes, please. We're all dying to hear it.
I'm not.
Sequence initiated. Shutting down. Shutting down. Shut down sequence. Shutting down. Shutting down. Shut down sequence initiated. Shutting down. Shutting down. Shut down sequence initiated. Shutting down.
Shutting down.
Yay, everyone's applauding.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that was awesome. Loved it. I think it's. I think we're all blessed. It's very, very special, you know, to see all of us sort of collaborating in our own way. We're let to sort of do what we like, and I think that was amazing what you did. I think it shows how you've interpreted something in your way, and I think everyone agrees in chat that it was pretty good.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry I didn't do it more justice, but yeah, I did what I could. So
Oh, it was really good.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time. Some of the samples were brilliant, but I didn't have long enough to prepare a longer track, so I had to go with what I did.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And yeah, I kind of liked how you were influenced by some of those, computerized overtones with some of those samples, like the shutting down bit, and that. I don't know if you guys know, but that sample was taken from something that I had from the 90s. We used to in the 90s, when we had our Windows computers, we used to have our Windows saying things like, it was geeky. We used to say things like, "My computer is shutting down." Now, these were actually around for so long, and it kind of, for us who have been around since then, it's kind of special to us. We know that's what they're from. So people have actually messaged me on the internet when they've heard Men from Mars, and they've said, I've heard those samples before. They're really, really common. And that was done on purpose. So, and I loved how you mangled it, you reversed it, you pitched it down, you pitched it up. I think that was awesome.
Well, there's quite a few bits of your playing that were reversed.
Yeah.
Which was good. Like the TR8 was great. I reversed it, and it really went well with just a drum beat. It gave it this shuffle. It was lovely.
Yeah.
I think I might steal that sample, actually. Sorry.
No, go for it. You can have it. All yours. So, the other part of today's stream, of course, is I don't know how we can do this, because Daren, don't forget, is having a few technical issues, but hopefully within about 10 seconds he'll hear me say this. So Daren, if you're ready, we would love to hear what you had prepared for us, and I guess we can just sort of be patient with that 10-second delay. Hey chatties, don't get too upset.
Yeah,
just remember that he's got that delay.
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, he's here.
This is. I don't know if this is going to work, to be honest, because I've got two screens. I've got the one that's live feeding, so I can see exactly what's happening at that moment, and then I'm actually got the other headphone, which is on my iPad, watching what is being streamed out live, and there's a 10-second delay. So I'm hearing myself and seeing myself delayed. So I'm not sure when to speak.
Shall I give him a first time to speak, like
Yeah.
thumbs up or something?
Yeah.
I can hear you tapping and I can't see anything.
Well, we'll just wait for Daren to go for it.
It's good, I've got to admit. It's like, well, I'll tell you what. Can you hear that? I'll stop it there because I'm completely out of sync with everything. Over to you because I haven't got a clue where I am.
All right. So just after Daren said over to you, so now you'll know how long it takes for for that to delay to you. That was awesome, mate. Thanks very much for showing us that. Now, let me guess, you had a Juno plugged into your effects pedal gear that you've got there. Maybe if we give you 10 seconds to think about what it was, and you can let us know what effects units you had your Juno plugged into.
Sounded really good, didn't it?
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Right, okay. It was basically just the Juno at first, but I couldn't turn around fully to use the. I couldn't turn around to use the keyboard. My two sets of headphones are stopping me from getting round. I'm hearing myself. So, Juno going into a canyon delay, into a small stone, and then into the Strymon Big Sky. I couldn't tell you the patches because I couldn't see them from where I'm sat. And obviously I've got the chorus on the Juno. I was going to do a bit more actually, bring in the Raven, but with this delay, it's just so awkward.
Yeah. Well, we can always try and revisit this and see if we can sort of sort out the problem that you've got with the delay. I don't know why we're getting the issues we've got today. It's weird. But anyway, we can sort that out at another time. Supposedly we're supposed to get support now with this software, so we'll see what happens. Okay, So, chatties have been saying, Daren, that it's lovely, and they loved hearing the Juno 6. Just so you guys know, it's not a Juno 106 or a Juno 60, it's a Juno 6. So it's the original with the VCOs, not the DCOs. And yeah, I think that was pretty good. What do you think, Inky?
Yeah, it sounded lovely at the end. Yeah. I didn't want him to stop.
Yeah, it was kind of therapeutic, wasn't it? It was kind of that.
Yeah.
Brings us back that sort of old school sound. I love that. I love that stuff. Yeah. So while we're talking,
just
yeah,
keep those pads on for a good 10 minutes and just listen to it and enjoy it, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could almost drone it, couldn't you? Just drone it. Have it sort of undertoning. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Off-World Network is saying proper man cave, Daren. So I think what he's talking about is he likes your setup and you can see all your gear behind you. It's kind of, it gives you that kind of gas where you just want to be creative. And I like, a lot of people have commented that they like how he's set up his studio, so that's good. Right, what was I going to talk about? Just briefly, this week's been busy for me. I've had birthdays and all sorts of stuff. This time of year is birthday season for my family. But one of the things I like to do around my birthday is get back to writing music, and I've started writing a track. So that's been, 6 months almost since I've, probably even longer than that actually, since I've written a track. The last track I wrote was called Axial, and that was ages ago. So I just wanted to tell you guys that I've got a video coming up that I want to talk about using the VC340, which is the string machine from Behringer, the VP330 clone vocoder thing that's there, and I've got that going through the Model D in the Eurorack module. You can see just where my finger is there. So what I'm using the Eurorack Model D for is the filter. And I'm using the filter because that doesn't have a filter on it, the string machine. When you put the string machine through a filter, it really just creams it up. It's just incredible. I've also had it going through the Neutron as well. The filter sounds a little bit harder on the Neutron than it does on the Model D. I actually don't know why. It just does. So there you go. And I don't know if I can do it through the MS-101. I might see if I can try that as well. But the whole thing with this, and you guys can probably see here, is I've got my MPC Live here. I've got the, what do you call it? Novation Peak, Minilog, VC340, and the Eurorack up there. And that's all I'm using. I'm going to be using the MPC to do drums, and kind of working on that. So in terms of setting up a little setup sort of rig, it's kind of similar to you, Inky, how you've got just everything really kind of just in front of you, as opposed to having stuff scattered all over the studio. I could go for miles around here, but this is more just having it almost within arm's reach, if that makes sense. So it's kind of one of those.
Yeah, mine's in a big horseshoe. So in my mind, one day I will be able to control all of it at once. So yeah, so you could kind of stand here and here and then go over there. That's a bit far away, but yeah, I like having it all laid out and ready to go.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of what we've been doing on the stream, for those who are new to our stream, we've been sharing some, let's call it some love. We've been sharing some love between us. So the three people that you can see here on this particular window. So Daren's been showing us some of his gear. I think next time we do the stream, Daren, if we can get you working properly, I'd actually like to showcase. He's been doing some really nice tracks. And by the way, if you're wondering if Inky and Daren have YouTube channels, well, they do, and you can see their information in the description right below. It's been published before the stream even started, but don't click on it just yet because the stream hasn't finished. Do it after the stream. Don't disappear. What I would like is I'd like to see if we can get Daren to showcase some more of his music, and Inky, that invitation also goes to you as well, because I think you guys are very, very talented, and you both should know. It's one of those things, being in the music world, we don't get told often. If we're crap or if we're good or whatever, it's good to know. So we'll definitely get you to.
Well, that's great to know, because you always think you're actually rubbish, don't you? Like, I know Darren's, I know you're really good, but you always kind of do think, oh, am I rubbish and no one's actually telling me? Do you know what I mean? You'd get that, don't you? Thank you.
Yeah, you do often wonder, don't you? You kind of, it's kind of like a thankless world, especially if you write music, and it's just, these days it's almost very clinical when we write stuff. We don't have a lot of, sweat versus sweat. It's more just everything's done online and it's sent out to the ethers, and it's very clinical, that is. You're not really sort of meeting the flesh. Whereas in the old days, you'd have to do the old-fashioned networking and meet with record deals and all that sort of stuff. These days, it's just hope that people pick it up. In terms of sweet disposition, what does that mean? Oh, is that the track, Barramundi? Sweet Disposition by an Australian group, I think it is. Anyway, we're sidetracking. What I was saying is, kind of these days, you do get to meet people in the flesh when you perform live. So
I've got my first probably live gig coming up. I don't know when, in front of a load of music students. So that'll be interesting, because they're kind of harsh. I went to one and everyone stood there. So you're like, oh, that'll be a real test, won't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not on at quite the right as well. It's on at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So it's in a proper club environment. It's dark. It's got great lights, great sound, but it's lunchtime, and so that'll be kind of a real tester. That'll be interesting.
So that's at a uni, is it? You're playing at a university?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've done a few live gigs at uni, and I actually really enjoy doing it. In fact, the only negative side of it is you don't get paid. And I don't mind it because, sometimes you can. It depends on what uni, I guess. But in my case, I never did. I did it for practice, and I wanted to see what it was like for me, packing all my gear up, taking it out, setting it up, waiting for people to turn up, and then performing, and hopefully my sets work, and I didn't have train wrecks or anything like that. I actually found the uni students really, really helpful. A lot of them gave you advice, a lot of them gave you really good feedback, and they were very loyal.
They're very, very respectful. Because they're interested. And it's good to talk to them because they're all varied. But that's exactly why I'm doing it, to find out. I'm trying to find a setup that I can live that's not too hard. And that's exactly the reason I'm going to do it, for the whole experience of practice, and it's a great venue as well.
That should be awesome. One thing I would definitely recommend that you do, because I forgot to last time I did my uni, is get yourself one of these if you haven't got one.
I'm getting a Zoom.
Yep, a Zoom.
Q2N.
Yep.
My friend in America is lending me his in exchange for Cadbury's chocolates.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Bit of a contra deal.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
I've got
dealing in Cadbury's chocolates now.
I've got a Zoom Q4, which my channel's used since the start. It's the older one, still HD. Let me grab it for a sec. I'll show you what it looks like. You can talk about your gig for a sec, Inky.
Oh, I don't know. I've decided to do it actually, because the whole point is I'm trying to get all this equipment down to what's working live. It's about a table full, but I think I've got too much. I need to know what bits I'm going to take to manipulate live and what bits I'm going to finalise so I've got something to play on. It's looking like a pair of circuits and just jamming live, and I don't think that's quite the place to do that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I find that there's a mix of people that react to your gear, and there's a mix of people that couldn't give a rat's about what gear you've got. They just want to hear what you sound like. So, yeah, I wouldn't be too worried too much about your setup. I think what a lot of them tend to be interested in is to see how well you can engage and get that sort of emotion in your performance. So it's not really about what gear you've got, it's about how well you use it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's about what gear I feel comfortable with. So like the monostation, and you told me a couple of weeks ago that they were selling out. I had one on eBay and got another one.
Wow.
I'm kind of liking those two. Yeah, half price. I was really chuffed, right? As a drum machine stroke lead.
Yeah.
And I'm quite like the live manipulation of those and how you can kind of do stuff on the, because I want part of it to still be improvised.
Yeah.
You know? I
that
don't,
live element, yeah.
Yeah, and more as I get better and better, I want more and more of that to flow. You know?
Yeah, it's kind of like when I was showing that video that I've got that we were doing for Men from Mars. You could see me playing a lot live, but at the same time there's automation going crazy, and you can't, as a general person who loves music who doesn't know much about this stuff, they don't really notice that. They don't notice the automation. What they notice is as long as there's a swing and a groove and it looks real and there's sweat equity happening in your performance, that's what they care about. While we were talking, I just got the Q4 out. That's what that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah. So this thing I've had for a few years now, and they're just like a little webcam basically. I've got that connected to. Do you see this little mount thing?
Yeah.
That is called a Jibby, I think. These are really Joby. Sorry, you can actually see the brand there. I think if it's going to focus, well, maybe it would do. Anyway, Joby, Joby. These are actually, I've got heaps of these. These are really good. You can actually just...
Are they reasonable?
Yeah, like 30 quid. And you can you just clamp them to anything. And that whole thing there is swivel, so you can undo that, and it literally makes this whole thing. Look how much you can move this around. So you can get it on any angle you like, and then that's going to record for you. So the only thing, and the other thing too, sorry, while we're talking about this is the older one, but the microphones on this are actually pretty good.
Yeah, the one I've got, it's got the microphones, it's got the microphones on the top.
Yep. Got your input there as well.
Yeah.
So as long as you got input, you can record multiple tracks on these as well.
Can you use the file like the Zoom recorders? You can use the external mics and the line in at the same time.
Yep, it does multiple tracks.
Cool.
Yeah. So the only thing that's negative about them is the video quality, but really, who cares? Same with the GoPros. The video quality, I don't find that great on these, but they are just so simple now that they've got the little LCD screen on the back. The models before these ones that had the LCD screen were crap because you had to use an app every time you wanted to do something, but now they've got that screen on the back. These are so easy to use now. And for those playing along at home, with those inputs, you can actually, it's a USB-C input, you can get an adapter which will take an external audio input on these. So for those wanting to know whether you can record external audio into your GoPro, that's how you do it. I've got ones lying around, but yeah, it's no point in talking about it. But if you do get a chance, Inky, to record your live performance with a video, it's really worth you doing.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that.
Even if you don't share it with anyone, it's more just maybe just as self-learning to see what you're doing yourself.
Yeah.
And if you've got some buds coming along, they can record bits with their phones and, see how that turns out as well.
Yeah, no, I think we can get someone to do that. Prefer.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah, definitely be interested in that. So good luck with that. Now, let's have a quick look what the chatties have been saying. Triple Eight Berg saying when he's playing live, he loves synths that have endless encoders. You're jamming and switching presets, you find a groove and you shake a knob and it all goes to hell. Yeah, sometimes. I think when you've got synths like the original Micro Brute, Mini Brute, those ones that didn't have any patch memory in them, or even the Model D, the Behringer stuff that doesn't have patch memory in it, and the Odyssey and all those, anything like that, the moment that you touch a knob, you're right, it will go to hell. But synths like the Peak, brilliant, absolutely, in bass station, and like what Inky was saying with the bass station circuit, brilliant, because if you manage to accidentally knock a knob and you've got that preset saved, you just quickly hit the preset and it's back. And sometimes people don't even notice you've knocked the knob. So, what were you saying, Inky?
Yeah, I told you I bought a monostation second hand. Well, they come with pot pickup turned off. So when you turn the pot, it automatically jumps to where if you touch it, so it goes to a bit mayhemy. But the one I bought had never been updated, and that wasn't on the original monostation, which I think is part of the reason why it might not have taken off. Really, because a friend of mine couldn't get on with it because every time you touch the knob, it just jumped radically. So some synths have hidden sets where it's pop, isn't it? Where so you can have your synths on 2 different settings. So if you touch it, it'll automatically jump to where it is now. You can have it set so that when you touch it, it will find the place where it's already on and then start moving from that. Does that make sense?
Where's that coming from?
I don't know. Is that Daren?
Not sure.
It's pretty nice.
Hi everyone, Matt Watson here from Carware.
That was coming from Daren. I know it was coming from Daren because I was watching his audio and his little audio thing was going up and down. We got you, Daren. That is so funny. So that's Inky. That setting that you're talking about is definitely a cool one, and not all synths that said they do that.
But you see, that's why you should be coming through. That's why I can't work it out.
Well, we definitely know it's not our end because Inky's working and you're not. So let's make Daren feel even worse.
That's a first.
It is a first. Normally it's Inky that has the technical problems, but yeah. We'll see if we can sort it out after the stream anyway, mate. In fact, it actually wasn't too bad, to be honest. We got to listen to the Juno. I think most people were pretty keen to hear it, and they liked it. So don't feel too bad about it. I think we managed to sort of work it out, and I think with live chat and the 10 seconds delay isn't huge, so I think we can manage. Axel's saying so if you turned it off and on again, yeah, exactly. The other thing we're talking about playing live. The other thing that I always recommend is you'll find that you have to almost have a duplicate of everything, but be careful with that because it can go a bit. You can't have like 2 Akai forces.
I'm not saying no. What's the the MIDI because at the moment the Force doesn't have MIDI mapping like the MPCs, so you can't map the launch control to it. So that's coming.
So the Force doesn't have MIDI mapping yet?
No, but I've spoken to Dan Gill of Akai, and he said it's just a matter of time. It's definitely coming. It's definitely going to be there. It's at one that. But no, it doesn't have MIDI mapping. So I really want the Force to take the Force out, and probably the Launch XL and the 2 mono stations. And then they will go through opposite ends of the crossfader. So, but at the moment that's not possible because there's little things that annoy me about the Force at the moment. On some of the synths, cut off and res is on the second page of the knobs. So it's another thing you've got to remember to press. So it's like, if you're doing something live and you go, I want to alter res, and you go, I've just got to press that knob button again, and it's a second that you've lost. So the moment isn't right. Do you understand?
Yeah. And
whereas if I've mapped it to here, I go, those 2 buttons. I know it's those 2 buttons. I don't have to go, what button is it, or what am I looking at? Yeah. So, do you know what I mean?
I honestly, if the MPC didn't have that MIDI mapping, that we would be talking about this product in a completely different light. That MIDI mapping to me has made it like an outstanding product, but without the external MIDI controller, you and I are both using the Launch Control XL. Without having that Launch Control XL with the MPC, it wouldn't be as good because that screen, all you've got is the 16 pads and the screen, and they're always related. So you can't disconnect the pads to a different screen like that. None of that's, so whatever's on the MPC is always related to what's on the screen. And having the ability to map something completely different with that external controller, it's massive. It's, how would you describe it? I mean, it's almost like 50% of the ability of that product.
Yeah, it's like, a mixer, haven't you? If you've got a launch control, you've got a mixer with nice faders that you can work lifetime. And you can totally map it to anything you want. I mean, if it didn't have that, I'd be owning an MC 707 right now.
Yeah.
It does,
they don't do MIDI mapping either.
No, but it has fancy slider. But you understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
This has ultimate potential. So once you've got the boring stuff like the track volumes, the MIDI volumes, you can even control the audio volumes of audio tracks, or anything like that. Once you've got that boring stuff over with and you've made a template, then you start mapping all sorts of stuff. Like I've got delay time on one of my knobs and stuff like that.
Yep.
Which is, once you start looking at what they've given you, it's insane. It really does become, So you've got 16 pages of those, because you've got 8 in the user and 8 in the back.
As you're talking, I'll point to bits so people can see.
So you can say you have on user 1, so bank 1, points at the banks, they're at the bottom. Yeah, user bank, and then you press number 1, don't you? Right. Yeah. So that's one. So you could have all 8-track volumes, whatever you like, just on one instances of those 16.
Yep.
So that's an 8-track mixer right there on one page. And then you could make another one, so you could have a 16-track mixer, or you could make it reverse samples on the second page, a slider reverse samples, or control XY effects. It's really, really, if you've got an MPC, look at it. You need to look at it because you're missing half the fun.
Oh, and the mapping side. I mean, I've got a video on my channel on how to do it. It's so easy. Inky's shown it on hers as well. It's really, really simple. It's literally wiggle a knob and then find the function in the MPC, and then that's it, done. And then when you save your project, you can it's there forever. Daren, I don't know if you can if you're listening at all, but we talked about Daren's a big user of the MX1. That's that mixer there. The MX1, I'll just turn it on so you can see it. That's the MX1 there. With the MX1, you can map anything that it sends out MIDI into your MPC. At the same time, you can also record it into a track. So you can actually record automation of your MX1 into your MPC. And we're talking before about live performances. The ability for you to automate as much as you can is going to be probably the biggest ally that you've got. And MIDI is really a good way of doing it. Sometimes it's got its downfalls, but I mean, yeah, like seriously, if you can automate, what sort of mixer do you use when you're playing live, Inky? Do you actually have a mixer that you take with you, or are you just coming straight out of the back of the Force?
No, the plan is, the plan is I don't want to. You're usually on your own, aren't you? Right, so you've got to bear in mind you might be on your own. You might be in a place where things might get stolen. You want to be able to take it all in one, out the car to the venue in one go, really. So a mixer is another kind of addition, isn't it? So I'm going to go into the MPC or Force and use it as a mixer. So I can mix the input volumes. That's all I'll pretty much need, I think. I don't want to make it too big. You end up taking the studio out.
Well, the MPCs and the Force are pretty competent mixers in their own right anyway. The audio inputs on them are actually really, really high quality, and they have to be because it's a sampler, so you've got to have good quality inputs on them anyway. So technically, you don't really need one. The only reason why I like probably the MX1 over any other mixer at the moment, and that is because they've actually named it correctly for a start. It's kind of weird. Someone's actually named a product correctly. It's called a performance mixer because really it is. It's like unless you own one, you probably don't really know. But when you're actually playing live and you've got things like what Daren does with the delay and that continuous turning off your delay, and then it's still running in the background, and then you can hit it again, you can still hear it. All this sort of stuff, they're all performance things. And then with all those side chain effects and beat effects and things like that, they're all sequenceable, so you can turn steps off, turn steps on. Anything to do with the sliders, the faders, turning off and on things, you can do that and record that via MIDI, so you can completely, when you're playing live, you can have all of your mixer settings automated, so that when you change from one sequence to another in your project, it will change all of the settings on your mixer, which is it's a big thing when you're playing live. You don't have to muck around with fader positions, and you might take ages to work out where all of that is. To have that being able to be set automatically for you is actually huge. So yes, digital mixers do that, but I just think the MX1 does it really well, easily. So that's just my little preference. I think Daren will probably agree with me, being an MX1 owner. So yeah,
I might look into that because
they're not too bad in price. I think what are they, about
far actually
400 450 quid or something? I don't know, I can't remember now what they are.
I'll thumbs up Daren so you can talk. Talk, Daren.
Right. I say I think an MX1 would be probably just right for you, actually, especially if you're going to play out live, because it's not that heavy. It's very small as well, so it'd be perfect for you, I think.
Well, I'll have a look at that.
That wasn't too bad. The delay was actually probably a little bit less than what I thought. £393, Inky, from Gear for Music. They're not on sale or anything at the moment.
Oh, I don't know. At that price, it's like half a 707, isn't it?
Yeah, and I know you're really gassing for one of those right now.
I know, and I can't though, can I? I'm not, I just haven't. No,
Sometimes,
I can't. Too much, yeah.
Sometimes you can get them cheaper. Wow, they've gone up in price. Oh my god.
Wow.
I bought mine. I've had mine for years now. I bought mine for about $799, which is $800, most will say $800 Australian, and now they're $944.
New?
So 800. Yep.
Oh God.
800 £440. So yeah, it's about the same price as what Gear for Music is selling it for now. So they're overpriced now in Australia. So when you think about it, the price that Gear for Music is selling them for actually is pretty good.
Well, I'm buying stuff like that second hand. General thing is if it's an analog synth, then I'd prefer it new.
I got mine for $320.
Yeah, you can get them cheaper, definitely. But second hand, they're always in eBay. Let's have a quick look.
It's basically only things with screens and that I'm really about buying new, like the expensive products, like
Yep.
the MPC.
There's one on eBay at the moment, based in the UK, for £300.
But for that price, you're looking. It's a bit expensive when you could buy a new one for an extra
Yeah, so for another £100, you got a brand new one with a warranty. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I look at it.
That's how I'd be the same. Yeah. And then that's eBay, and Reverb are always another place to look.
I don't do Reverb.
Always check Reverb out. I think the only problem with
we don't do it in the UK for some reason. I don't know anyone who does Reverb in the UK.
Oh yeah, people in the
weird.
UK use Reverb. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they're not that cheap on Reverb. Yeah, no. Forget Reverb. The cheapest one on Reverb I found here is for 456 Australian dollars, which is £250. That one's not too bad, but that could,
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, that's pretty decent. That's like £200 off.
That one's in France.
Yeah.
In Paris.
But anyway, we're not spending Inky's pennies today. We decided because although it is perfect and it's light, it would be another thing to take, wouldn't it? So we stick with the launch pad, I think.
Well, it's like everyone trying to convince me that I need a new Ableton push. Look at this.
What's the difference between that one and the next one up?
The Push 2's got a much more higher end screen. That's just monochrome, that one. That's like the old Toshiba laptops from the early 90s. Do you remember those when they first brought laptops out? They didn't even have color screens. They had these what's that color called? It's not almost, it's orange, but it's not called that. It's called something else. Amber, I think it is.
Yeah, amber.
Yeah, and so they had the amber monochrome screens, little Windows, before Windows came out, DOS based laptops. Anyway, forget about what I just said. So yeah, the new ones have got slightly different layout, different buttons down the side. I don't think it was made by Akai either. I think this one's made by Akai. The new one's made by themselves.
It wasn't.
So they claim it's better. But for me, like, I just could not see me using any of the new features. I just thought, okay, yeah, there's some improvements in the product, but this still does what I need to do. And they're not cheap. What's a push worth, guys?
It's 500 quid, right? This is the whole thing that drove me into hardware. I wouldn't have found the MPC if I hadn't looked at the price of a push and went, do you know what? There's no way I'm paying that.
560 quid too. It does come pre-bundled with Ableton though, so in that price you do get a copy of the license of Ableton.
Is it not some random little version of Ableton? Because I'm not sure you get.
Need to check what it said. Yep, comes complete with Ableton Live 10.
I think it's Ableton Live Lite.
It's light, is it? If it's light, that's rubbish then. That's absolute rubbish.
Yeah. I've got Ableton Lite in my circuit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've got probably about 50 licenses of Ableton Live Lite.
Well,
I actually wrote to them once and said, "Hey guys, if I add up all my Ableton Live Lite licenses and combine them together, will that give me a sweet version?"
Well, that's what I'm saying to you. It's
I may be wrong.
To ethics. No, I think you're right. I'm definitely thinking you're right, because it came. That's what I thought. Well, if I'm getting a push and it's a bit 100 quid more than Ableton, I get Ableton. That's fair. But the fact that you don't get Ableton and you're paying 500 quid, and then you're going to give you Lite, it's like an insult, isn't it?
It's a controller.
I mean, yeah, So, are you going to get an MPC for £800, or are you going to get a controller for £600? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. What's the force worth now? Has that come down, or is it still really, really quite high price?
They're going for 150 to 300. But I bought this product because I know how much the MPC.
Shut down sequence. Shut down sequence. Initiated sequence.
We'll just mute Inky for a sec. There we go. There you go. You're back now.
I know this is supported like the MPC, and the MPC has had huge updates. So it's an investment in the future,
going on?
Whereas
he's got the delay.
We're all shutting down.
£1,283 for a Akai Force from Geekery Music, if that's a good place to get it from.
That's where I got mine.
Yeah, I mean, that is still a lot of money compared to the MPC.
Hold on. Oh yeah, but if you compare a push, is it a lot of money?
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah. You're right there.
Two pushes or an Akai Force.
Don't forget too, you've got an Ableton license on top of that.
And the computer you've got to run it on.
And the computer, exactly. Yep.
Because my computers would not run Ableton.
So how many viruses are you going to get on your Akai Force?
Absolutely zero. But I'm going to get absolutely lovely updates with the presence of gifts I didn't even dream. And how many free updates do you get on, software, to be honest? That are, how much, or is it paid updates? On these
let's just go back, 5 or 6 streams ago when I did a Windows update, and how that's completely just ruined. Well, that Windows update has cost me $700. That's how bad that Windows update was. So let's not talk about updates.
So this is exactly why I like.
Shut down sequence. Shut down sequence. Initiated sequence.
Inky, keep touching the buttons.
It kind of gets you all out of that. I don't have to worry about if I update my computer for this program, my music won't work because it's all in a neat little box that can't be touched by the evil internet.
But if you got an access virus, then you could have a permanent virus, as that's what 888B is saying. Barramundi's saying the push 2 is too expensive. I think general census out there in the music community is they think the push is too expensive. And I think a lot of people that own these would probably buy one used, wait for someone to get sick of it and buy it used. I know for a fact that you can actually pick up a push 1 now for about 150 quid. Or maybe even 100 quid if you look around, and I reckon that's actually extremely good value at that price because of what you can do with it. And Inky, this is just pure food for thought. You've seen those Microsoft Surface laptop things, right?
Yeah.
So they're like iPads, but they've got a full version of Windows on them, and they've got the pen. Yep. So I've done a video on my channel using the Surface. If you guys want to check it out, it's actually pretty good. With Ableton, a Microsoft Surface is actually really, really cool because you can draw with the pen. You can draw in notes through the through the editor, and then imagine the push, like a push 1 that you've got secondhand for 100 quid, and a Microsoft Surface, and you can get the Surface Pro 4 on eBay for about 100 quid. So 200 quid, you've got yourself a full music production studio. It's all second-hand gear. We're not talking brand new prices here, but yeah. I'll show you what I got from my son when he finished his school. And while you talk, you guys can talk just a little bit while I just quickly grab it. So you got the floor, Inky.
Well, I hope you've all had a musical week, and I hope the sun where you are, because it's not here. And let's have a look at the chat room.
Okay, I'm back. Right, now, just a quick cut to me.
No, it's all, it's raining here.
So this is a Surface. Ouch! You can take the keyboard off, so they're completely detachable, and you can run the whole thing just like a tablet. Okay, and it's got a pen. Right. That is the Surface Pro 4. This thing. It's got a Core i5, Intel Core i5 processor on it. It's got what is that called? The computer guys in here will know. M.2 drives, is it? They're really fast hard drives. They're not actual physical hard drives. They're like memory chips. And it's quite a unique design too. I forget which way this goes.
Has it got like things don't like audio out?
It's got a little stand that's plugged. You can stand it up.
Cool.
Yes, it's got headphones on the side.
Yeah.
Actual 3.5mm jack, and it's got a USB port as well, and it's got an SD card slot. This version is one of the older versions, and you can stick the pen on the side there. The newer ones are even more beefy and faster and everything like that. But if you're just running Ableton and that's all you're doing, it's just audio, and you're not. And let's not talk about running. Do you remember that meme I did last week where it was like some guy with his 2013 MacBook, running 100 VSTs? Yes, it won't do that, but we're not talking about that. We're just talking about playing a few samples, recorded tracks. Even when you use in Ableton, if you freeze tracks, it frees up your CPU. So if you do things like that, these things can be really quite a good little sort of mobile recording thing. And the whole point.
I'm also looking though for exactly that kind of thing. So I used to go to a university where they had loads of computers, and now at this one they don't have any. So I haven't actually got a laptop I can take out.
Yeah.
And that would be handy in all sorts of situations, and it's relatively, it's a bargain, isn't it? Really.
Well, it is, and yeah. Where is it? No, I was going to show you. Okay, so here we go here. I don't know how good this is going to show. I thought I'd check out my Behringer Ultra Gain Digital. It's the ADA 8200, and it's... Alright, let's not talk about that. The direct what I want to show you, I might just mute myself. There we go, so we can't hear me. So you can see here in the video, I've actually got the Surface running. So you can see that, Inky?
Yep.
Yep. And what I've got is the audio fuse plugged in to, and you can see Ableton Live running.
Right.
And then I'm going in and I'm looking at the preferences. I can map all of the channels of that light pipe box underneath. So there's 8 inputs there, plus the inputs that are on the audio fuse. So I'm just showing all that. Anyway, so I can move forward a bit. Where do I show it? So you can see all the inputs there. So you can see there I'm actually recording straight from the interface, straight into that. So that's that actual exact same, what do you call it? Microsoft Surface that I just showed you before. And there's a video on my channel, and you can see how, you know, how much CPU usage it uses and everything.
Have you tried it with the? Have you tried just plugging the push into it?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, it's got a one USB port on the side. You can actually put like a USB hub in there, because the push is actually. Not a lot of people know this, but they're actually powered separately. So you can see on the back here, there's the power cable, and it's also got the USB connection. So it actually doesn't draw any. You know how some devices draw USB power from your computer. So in that sense. So if I was to unplug that, it goes to low power mode, see that? So you can actually power it off of USB, but if you plug it into the power as well, you get double. So you it doesn't take power out of the USB. It's kind of smart, it's pretty cool. So with the probably the downfall with the Surface, and this is just this particular model, I think the newer ones have corrected it, is the USB here on the right doesn't have a lot of grunt in terms of power out of it. So if you're going to put things in there that require, where are we? Powered, you can use like a powered hub. So you'll notice on, sorry, I've got to keep going to the wrong screen. You notice here that the audio fuse is actually powered there.
Yeah.
So you can run the audio fuse without that power connection, and it will just take the power out of the Surface, and it will work. So same with what I was just showing you with the.
But you'd probably just get a power brick. Would a power brick run the push? Do you think?
Well, like I said, you don't need to if you've got a powered USB hub. So if you plug a powered USB hub into, and you can have the power brick powering your USB hub. You know. How you decide to do that, it's up to you. But basically, yeah, if you're not running power off of the Surface, it works a lot better. That's kind of what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, but it'd be good if it was battery operated as well, wouldn't it? I'm sure you can do that. Yeah.
Well, that whole thing,
like you say,
that whole thing can be completely battery operated. So that little setup that I had in that video is not because I've got a ADAT module underneath. But if you just had the fuse and the OP1 and the Surface, that whole thing would be completely mobile without any power required, and you just use it until your battery runs out.
Yeah.
So
right, that's great.
Yeah, and like
Thanks
I said,
for the top tip.
Those older Surfaces, they go really cheap because, like I said, the kids use them at schools, like the big, expensive private schools use them, and the kids only have them for 3 years, and then after 3 years they toss them. And that's exactly what happened with my kid. And the school just wanted, I think, $100 just to clean it up, and I just paid the $100. So basically, that Surface cost me $100. It didn't really, because it cost me in school fees. But I think you understand what I mean.
Well, hopefully you're paying for some education too there.
Well, he's got a new one now. He's got a so every 3 years they get a new one. He's got one of the latest Surface books. They're like a laptop, which is even better than this thing. And but let's just have a quick look on eBay. So Microsoft Surface Pro 4, which is the older one. I mean, geez, it's so cheap. $150 Australian. $150 Australian is less than 100 quid. So what I was saying before.
Yes, that's really good, isn't it?
And then you've got the Ableton Push 1. $100 Australian for an Ableton Push on eBay. $94 from the United Kingdom. So what's that? £50 for a used push.
Oh my goodness! So for 125 quid, you've got
125 quid.
Powerful.
You've got Windows and a push, and then all you really need. You don't really. You can just use the built-in sound that's on there, which is actually
an
not too
Akai
bad.
Force on some.
Yeah, you could just plug your Echo Force into it, yeah, and use that as a sound card. So there you go. So I don't know what 888 Berg's getting at. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to read back. Okay, so we've got a question. Wow. Okay, we've been ignoring the chatties. They were talking about
ignoring poor Daren.
They were talking about. So this is going back a bit. Axel was talking about Kibu. His name's Seb, the guy that does. I think he's Finnish or something, isn't he? He does a lot of the synthy sort of concerts. He's really, really good. Apparently, he had a Poly 61 fail just before he went out on stage, and he brought a JDXA with him. So it was lucky that he had that digital synth with him. That was pretty interesting. So that was going back to our conversations about gear failing in live concerts. So 888 Berg is asking, is the push worth it? If you don't have an MPC, probably. If you do have an MPC, probably not. What do you think, Inky?
I would say if you're using Ableton and you got a push 1, yeah, definitely, because it's hands-on, isn't it? It takes the mouse out of the situation a bit. So, but not a push 2. I definitely don't think that's worth it.
Well, we're talking about those used prices. Used prices, I think it's probably worth it. Definitely. So next question, Axelsoft's asking, I still need drums in my rig, and I've got a spare USB channel on my MX1, so was thinking about a TR8S. But now there's the MC101, which has got 16 drum sounds versus what's on the TR8S. What to do? Yeah, it's a good question. The TR8S does sampling, so does the MC101. What do you think, Daren? We'll wait for the 10-second delay, see what he says. And keep going while he's waiting for Daren, and I'll stop. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm watching my main screen here, which is I'm watching my main screen, which is telling me that you're saying yes, but you're still talking. Right. MC101. Yeah. I don't know. That's a bit of an hard one. I don't know. The TR8S. That's. I don't know. It's how much you can afford, because they don't quite cost the same, do they? As for the push with Ableton, like Ink said, I think if you are an Ableton user, yeah, I think a push an Ableton, and you've got like an Akai Force. Yes, it's not hardware as in one unit, but if, as you've pointed out, if you're running a cheap laptop type computer and a push, I think that's decent. But it all depends on how you work, doesn't it? Because everyone works differently. So at the end of the day, it's what's best for you. And if you can work with Ableton, a big screen, and loads of keyboards, and that's how you work, that's fine. But if you like to just work with, say, an Akai and some hardware stuff, then that's fine. At the end of the day, it's what comes out of what you're doing, basically. Over.
Good advice there. I think
Very well said.
yeah, definitely. I think Axelsoft was saying that the MC101 has time stretch, but the TR8S does not. So that could be a deciding factor.
I would like to say to Axel, are you going to be? How can I put it? The TR8S has those handy step sequencer buttons, doesn't it? So you can do things really fast, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to weigh up that because you don't get that on the 101. Sampling stuff. But you can't directly sample into either of them, can you? So, but the layout on the TR8S, you get a drum beat and you've got each steps like you have on the 707. Now I would find that useful, but it's how he wants to play, isn't it? It's exactly what he sees himself doing, how he likes to play.
I think so too. While you were talking, I just getting an image of them both up on the screen. Okay, so this could be another reason why you may go with one or the other. That thing that we're looking at there is really quite small. It is really small. Probably about the size of your hand, maybe a little bit longer, but it's really, really small.
If you think Volca knobs, like the bass kind of, those two knobs are very close together, aren't they?
Well, I think
the effects.
I think it's probably similar size to a Volca as a whole unit. That's kind of where I'm going with that. And then the other side of it is the TR8S is similar size to the TR8 and similar size to the MX1. It's kind of that era, unit sort of size. And definitely more controls. It's a bit of a tricky question, that one, I think. And the other one is the I guess the one that we haven't said is the 707, right? Which is the one Inky's got gas for. And I don't know, for me, if I was asking this question, I would probably be saying the answer is the 707. So,
yeah, but then that's a different price bracket, isn't it?
It is.
That is that's
so many more features.
Yeah, but then I look at the clips and I get lost in those clips. And I'm not sure yet. I'm waiting to find out, because someone on the 101 was making clips, and every time he made a clip, he stopped the machine. I don't know if he asked the machine to make that clip. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you have to stop the machine to make the clip, that's unusable. You can't make clips on the fly, can you?
Not clips,
do you know what
No, you're absolutely right. What you can do, though, is you can do that looping. So the looping feature of this is not clip related.
Right.
So yeah, but the MPC is kind of limited in that sense as well. Like, you can't, on an MPC, there's things that you can't do on the fly as well while it's playing. Like, it just about renders the thing useless.
No, you can. You can get way around like the looper issue. What I'm saying is, if you make a clip of music and you want to put it in a clip, you should be able to do that while it's playing. Right?
Yeah,
and
can,
I'm
yeah.
not sure.
The MC707 can't, but then again, it's like everything. Most gear has limitations.
So is this where Ableton and a push comes into it?
Well, that's where the unlimited side of it comes into it. Is what kind of where, when you've got the PC.
What I'm saying is, as a workflow, as a musician, one of the great things about the Novation circuit is you don't have to stop at any time. It just plays and plays and plays, and you save and do and make things as you go along. And you can do it on the MPC and Ableton and the Force. If you can't do it on those products, if I go, I really like that, and then I have to stop what I'm listening to make a clip, that has stopped me enjoying my music and knowing where I'm going next. Now I've got to go, now I've got to listen to that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do see what you're saying. It's interrupting your workflow.
And I'm not sure yet whether that's true or not, but I'm waiting to find out, because every clip I've seen, they've stopped the machine to make it.
See, one of the things that kind of annoys me about a lot of this digital stuff that's out these days is it's a bit same sort of thing that you have with computers. They have processors in them, and those processors eventually will run out of grunt or the ability to do everything it's supposed to do, and then it runs out of resources. And a really good example of this is the Behringer MS-101 that came out, and they were producing this thing on a really, really tight budget. You can tell, because they had a price point they were trying to get it out on, and blah blah blah. But the bottom line was that all the stuff that's on it that's digital is all the sequencer and that MIDI side and everything. And when I went to the developer and asked him one tiny little thing, and that was the ability for the sequencer to be turned off so that when you send a start-stop message, it wouldn't automatically play the sequencer, because that was annoying as hell. He said to me, we can't actually give you that because we've run out of memory. There's literally no more space on that little tiny processor that's in there. And you're going to have the same problem with Roland with these MC707s. They're finite resources.
What I'm saying. I've just asked someone, do you have to stop to clip? Because if that's true, firstly, I don't think they'll ever do anything about it. Secondly, for me, it doesn't matter how much I want that product. It's now unusable. It's a lot of money that will stop my workflow. And other companies that do build in a bit of leeway for improvement, I don't think Roland do, and that's part of my issue.
Well, I mean,
so TRAS.
Oh no, they bring out the new Boutique Juno, right? They've already brought a Boutique Juno out back whenever it was, 4 years ago. And everyone went, why the hell did you bring a digital recreation of a Juno out that only has 4 voices? I mean, that was like one, the world was shouting that, and Roland were like, la, 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 don't care what you say. So they bring another one out because the world's saying, we want you to stop making them. Why did you stop making them? And guess what they did? 4 voices again. Oh, we can't make it 6 voices because it's got too much processing power. Well, then put a bigger processor in it, or put, I don't know, I'm not a computer engineer, but surely after 4 years you guys could have worked out a more efficient way to program this thing. To me, a lot of it is questionable whether we have you heard of the bullshit test, where you do a bit of a sniff, and if it smells like bullshit, it probably is.
I'm sorry to say, that's how I feel about Roland these days.
Yeah, you could be right.
I mean, it's almost there, isn't it? I mean, I like the idea of that MC707, but when I noticed him stopping and then making the clip and then starting it, I've asked the question. I'm waiting for the answer to come back because it's almost there. But you couldn't do that in a live situation, could you? Hold on, I've just made something I like. We'll stop while I put it in a clip for later. So again, it's that sniff test, isn't it? Here's a live device that you can use live, and some clips that you can't use live because you would then have to have no music.
It's almost like watching me doing a live stream. Hang on a sec while I prepare. That sort of disjointed production. That could be a new thing, a new genre. Disjointed productions.
That sounds like a good record label.
It could be, yeah. We could have the what did we have last week? Record label was Collabrador. That was quite good. And Disjointed Productions this week. And that could be followed closely behind with Text That Can Delay Daren. So there you go. For those people that have just joined the stream, we've been going almost for 2 hours now. We're probably sort of about to wind up. But don't forget, this will definitely be...
Yeah, I'm going to have to...
This will be posted up on the stream very soon. So you'll be able to watch
I've
it back.
I've bribed my child because she's here this week and she'll be running out of sweets soon. So I've got to go in a minute.
Yeah, we'll definitely be ending it. Don't worry about that. So big thank you to you, Inky, for all the effort that you put into for doing that little,
It's my pleasure.
I'm sorry you had to put up with my samples.
I enjoyed it. I wish I'd have had more time to, like you say, put them all into audio tracks. And I don't know whether I will do, but, I would like to have done. I had, my power steering went on the car, so I'd best do that instead.
Yeah, gotta do life things first. And also, and it was really kind of disappointing, not because of what anything Daren did, but it's disappointing that he had some technical issues with the core connection that we had today. But it was really nice hearing that Juno 6. That synth is truly a beautiful synth, and you can hear it just now. Thank you to Daren and for putting up with us. And for those who are in chat, let's just bring the chatties up. I always say big thanks to everyone who stuck around in the chat. I know it's a long time to be sort of putting up with definitely my voice anyway. I don't understand that, but anyway. Signing off. Hopefully I haven't missed on saying good day to anyone who has joined the stream. If I have, I do apologise. Sometimes it's a bit hard when you're sort of trying to run a stream at the same time. But Daren, do you want to sign us off with some Juno sounds, and we can all wave goodbye and wish you the best Saturday and Sunday rest for your weekend, and hopefully you get some music made, and we'll just we'll get Daren to wait for us before he can hear us. There we go. And we'll just wave. Bye everyone. See you next week.